Hi, don't be alarmed. Hi, my name is Pez, and I would like to start by warning you that there is a suggestion of offensive language used in this presentation. Today I would like to present you with a play on words and 3 poems. But before we get started, I would like to take a few seconds to explain a little about myself and how the first poem came to be. I am trying to survive the Matrix in the northern section of England, which is based on the European wing within the planetary prison, Earth. I can tell you that the northern section of England has suffered terribly in the recent austerity measures. I personally have no furniture left to sell for next week's rent and taxes. However, the soup kitchen business is booming, plenty of other poverty, certainly no privacy, only an overwhelming feeling of authoritarianism. I confess to being a modern-day peasant, created by less than 10% of the overall population. I am an unpublished poet fighting the New World Order and Agenda 21 with limited resources and certainly no money, only an overwhelming desire to free humanity from the nightmare that has entrapped it. I now ask all other modern-day peasants around the planetary prison Earth to do all they can to awaken the sheeple, as it's only the modern-day peasants that can now save humanity from the brink of extinction. And let me make one thing perfectly clear. If you regard yourself as working class, then permit me to say, welcome. You are now a modern-day peasant, created by less than 10% of the overall population within the planetary prison, Earth. I have heard the term sheeple used to describe the unawakened by such people as George Newray, Alex Jones, Max Egan, David Icke, and many other alternative media presenters. During my quest of awakening the sleepiest sheep, I have had to explain what sheeple are when watching a presentation by any of the aforementioned presenters. So, to make things a little easier for the most asleep to understand, I have given the term sheeple a meaning, and I am now laying claim to that meaning as being those who are too suppressed. Are you with me? Yeah? So, when using the term sheeple, you are now referring to those who are too suppressed. I have now used the meaning, those who are too suppressed, for the title and inspiration of the first poem. So, without any further delays, I would like to present you with the first poem a peasant has written and performed in a public arena since the fall of the Roman Empire. Those who are too suppressed. By Pez. The sheep. The sheep, they feel safe by not having many reasons to venture out. They shop in their bubbles, far too suppressed to make any noise or even shout. I spoke to the sheep. I tried to spell it out. Tyranny, war, eugenics, even genocide. What life is now about. But it just sheepishly barred back at me. What the f*** are you talking about? A tyrannical world where masters enslave, obedience are led to a manufactured country grave. They won't bar no protest or be brave. They have not yet realised that they are now the slaves, following dangling carrots from birth to grave, like hoping to be rich enough to get their low tax rate. No choices, no public debate. It's a new world order, born at Hell's Gate, instigated by less than 10% of the overall population, which can only be described as what the capitals in the title of my poem now create. Thank you for listening to my poem. If you haven't worked it out yet, the sheep dip is free. If you have, I am very sorry if any of the suggested offensive language has offended you, but sometimes you have no other option but to do so when making a creative point. My second poem came to me during my awakening just over 3 years ago, which gave me great comfort leading up to 21/12/12. But it also makes me realise that something globally catastrophic is going to happen. I don't know what, but the masses must unite to survive or flee like a flock of sheep and die. I hope you enjoy it. The title for this one isn't another play on words. It's called It's Us or Them. By Pez. You may often gaze astonished into the endless wonders of a far out distant colourful constellation. But please, hold some thought for the alleged incoming ball of totalised annihilation. It's known as Planet X, with its own extended orbit, so some old prophecies did say. But then they predicted the end times, and 21/12/12 didn't turn out to be the final day. So you may wish to reject the prophecies of your long gone distant relations. They warn you what will come from grief. In the Bible it's known as the Revelation. A catastrophic end with earthquakes, floods and a pole-shifting volcanic eruption. To wipe out modern man and his companion in life called corruption. Thousands of years of wars and fighting amongst each other has never amounted to very much at all, allowing the dark forces of the occult and their financial fanatics to take control, which only chooses the chosen ones to be wealthy and the unchosen ones to fight over nothing at all. The West has become a global warring fighting UN coalition, forcing democracy on every oil-rich dictated nation, into medicating materialistic states and of course mentally suppressed humanisation, causing countries, cultures and brothers to fight, then blaming it on their own personalised religion. And now they say it's you and I, breeding ourselves into the final phase, known as worldwide pandemic overpopulation. It's far too late in the day to turn back now, cry, pray, ask for forgiveness, or even repent. As my personal message to each and every one of you is quite simple. Either you die, or the other percent. Thank you once again for listening. My final point for today is about the entity that collects souls and takes them to heaven, or leaves them to burn in hell. It also focuses on our current global state of affairs regarding the economic deception and the wars cast around the planetary prison, Earth. It also focuses on the theory that your soul is burnt in a nuclear blast and that the entire planet is destroyed within 1.5 hours from the launch of the first nuclear bomb. I hope you enjoy it. It's called The Soul Collector by Pez. A trillion miles it travelled through the cosmic dust and space, just to pay a visit to the strange and weird warring human race. But alas, all he found was 7 billion souls, hanging perplexed across an arid, barren thermonuclear plane. There's no point knowing who fired first. There's not one of them left to accept the blame. Their world fell chillingly silent. Only minutes after uttering those horrific words, the world is at war. Yes, again. But this war was no guns, tanks, soldiers, sailors like they'd experienced many times before. No. This was the real deal, a thermonuclear war. Flash, bang. Within 90 minutes from the launch of the first thermonuclear warhead, the crust becomes a bubbling lava. Absolutely everything on planet Earth is dead. Why would these humans destroy their world on a radioactive day? It's far too late to listen to these sorry souls repent, cry, or even pray. And it sees it was down to greed how they created their very own Revelation Day in a totally selfish monetary way. So it has no time to watch these sorry souls burn on their very private thermonuclear radioactive Revelation Day. He has a trillion peaceful planets to visit, and he's rather in a hurry. And his aim is not to collect any souls from Earth on that day. Thank you for listening. I am aware of copyrights on my poetry, but feel free to use any or all of this presentation on other sites in the pursuit of awakening those who are too suppressed, the sheeple. It's been a real pleasure talking to you and sharing my points. I would love to do it again sometime. However, a peasant like me will most likely be dead or at best flogged and made homeless by this time tomorrow for suggesting that things aren't quite as they seem. So on that, my final closing thought to leave you with is that back in the Roman Empire, us peasants didn't need a permit to protest, we just did it. In Lakesh, Alakim.